Bror Fredrik coming at you with another video. Okay, so you came to Vegas, you slipped your hard-earned money in a slot machine, and all stars came into alignment, and you got a hand pay. Do you tip or do you not? We'll discuss that right after this. This is a question I get all the time. Hey, Bror Fredrik, I just got a hand pay. What should I do? Should I tip? Should I not tip? Who should I tip? Where should I tip? When should I tip? Why should I tip? Tip, 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 tips, and more tips. Tipping culture is getting out of freaking control, especially here in Las Vegas. So, let's start by answering the first obvious question. What is a hand pay? Well, here in Las Vegas and throughout the gambling world, a hand pay, for the most part, is, especially here in Las Vegas, the amount of $1,200 or more. So you put your $10 in a buffalo, it comes out $12.06. You have a hand pay on your hands. Now, I also tend to think it's a little bit, get your tin hats on, a little bit of a conspiracy that most hand pays are just a hair over $1,200. Now, everyone wins on that. The casinos, well, the casinos don't win. You won, but it keeps you in the seat a little longer. And the tax man comes along. The tax man cometh, because you will get 1099 for anything over 1,200 or over. Okay, so like I said, all stars came into alignment, and you got your hand pay of $1,216, $1,272, $1,241, $1,209. I see it all the time, but I digress. I've seen hand pays for $1 million, so yeah, it is possible. So what do you do next? Bells go off, a ring-a-ding-a-ding, everyone's all excited. Oh my God, got a hand pay. This is fantastic. So it's auto-notified to the powers that be, for the most part, that said machine triggered a hand pay, that someone actually won. So the first thing they're going to do is come out to you, and they are going to ask you if you have a player's card. If you happen to have a player's card, you give them the player's card, and you give them your driver's license and social security information, because it is a tax liability. It's a 1099 that they are going to perform. So you're sitting there waiting, debating what to do. Should I tip? Now, there's a lot of different schools of thought on tipping. Some people would say, screw that, they didn't tip me when I lost, because in order to get that $1,200, I lost $1,500. So what's the big deal? Why should I tip anyone? They're not tipping me when I lose. And then there's other people who say, well, it's good karma. You just tip and the world manifests itself back to you and yada, yada, yada. I don't believe in the whole karma thing. You know, we create our own karma through our own actions. Tipping someone isn't gonna inject positivity into the world, but that's a whole nother topic that I'm digressing on. So the schools of thought are what they are. Some people do it all the time. Some people, I think, do it too much. Now, what do I do? That's probably what you want to know. You don't have to do what I do. You don't have to think the way I think, but I've been around casinos. I've had literally hundreds of hand pays, and how do I handle them? Well, let's make a little separation here. Back in the day, hand pays were a little different, and filling up machines were a little different. The people that handled the actual machines had a much tougher job on their hands. These were the people, if you remember, who used to carry around sacks of coins and tokens and quarters and nickels and dimes and even pennies in certain cases. Again, back in the day, sacks of them, or push around the carts, or make change up front for you, or do all these different, not only technical things, but manual labor as well. We all know those days are gone. They converted all the machines, for the most part, except a few here and there, that are no longer cash-based. You put your money in, you get a ticket, and in some cases, you don't even get the change from your ticket anymore. So the concept of people having a slug around with cash and all that other type of stuff and do the manual labor involved in cashing people out and paying all this, not so much anymore. Now it's all done electronically. So fast forward to these days, the person gets notified, whoa, we just saw a pretty nasty accident. Yikes. Did you see that over there? Let's just pause for a second and I'll be back. All right, quick PSA for everyone. This is what I'm constantly talking about. People running red lights in Las Vegas. That's what that person did. They were late. They just got T-boned. I've gotten T-boned here in Vegas. It's the most common accident here. When I'm at a red light, I count to 5. I look both ways like 10 times. Please, people, be careful out there. Stop running red lights. And people who are waiting at red lights, count to 5. Relax. You're not going to get there 2 seconds faster. It's not going to matter. Those people's days are ruined. That guy's job is probably in jeopardy because the car that T-boned him was an MGM Suburban or Escalade or whatever the heck it was. But let's get back to what we were talking about. So fast forward to nowadays when everything is electronic. You got your Handpay, whatever it happens to be, and they get notified that machine is doing the ring-a-dingies and their service is required. So like I said, you provide your information. They disappear for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to perhaps up to an hour. They have to verify the machine. They verify your information. They check to see if you're in the system. Have you ever gotten a Handpay before? All that type of stuff. And finally, they come out with a clipboard with your 1099. Everything pre-filled out, and you have to sign on the dotted line to assume the tax responsibility for that. They ask you if you have a card. If you don't, they'll probably bring you a new one, yada, yada, yada. And then comes the Handpay. So here they are, counting out those hundreds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever it is, 12 plus. Now, do you tip at that point? Some people are uber generous. I don't know why. And they're like, oh, I always tip 20%. Really? Okay. I tip 10%. I tip 5%. I don't tip at all. Screw these people. I tend to be somewhere in between. Now, if it's a huge is relative. If it's like, say, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, that's definitely different than 1,204. No ifs, ands, or buts. Now, are these people really busting their asses? I mean, let's face it, they get paid. Tipping culture is out of control, especially here in Las Vegas. I know I'm going to get some hate for that, but I don't think a tip should be mandatory anywhere in Las Vegas or anywhere as a whole. Tipping should be based on the service that you receive. Now, did this person hustle? Did they send the drink girl over while you were waiting? Were they back in 10 minutes? Were they friendly, or were they just a straight up a-hole? That plays into the likelihood that I am going to tip. Now, if I get $1,206, $1,216, $1,232, you know what I'm tipping? This is my rule of thumb. I am going to round down to the nearest 50 if it's a small Handpay, say 1,500 or less. I'm gonna round down to the nearest 100 should the Handpay happen to be larger. 3 grand, 4 grand, 10 grand, 12 grand, whatever it happens to be, I'll round down to the 100. If I get a $1,214 Handpay, I'll give that person the $14. I'm not giving 10%, I'm not giving 20%, I'm not even figuring out a percent. I just straight up level down to, I go down, round off to the closest 50. Now, suppose it is $1,272, I'll give them the $22 and round it down to the nearest 50. All they did was walk and come back. 22 bucks. No one's giving me 22 bucks to walk 50 feet. Well, sometimes super chat, but I digress. No one's giving me, I mean, just to do your job. They didn't go out of their way. They didn't lose time with their family. They're actually performing their job. So the tipping is up to me. So on smaller hand pays, I round down to the nearest 50. Now, rounding down to the nearest 100, okay, I got a hand pay that was $5,046, $5,078. I'll give them the 78. I'll give them the 42. I'll round it down to the nearest 100, that 5,000. Now, what if it is 5,122? Am I going to give them 22? Probably not, unless they're just rude and kind of asshole-ish. But if they're friendly, they're keeping the vibes, they're sending the cocktail waitresses, or they've given me hand pays in the past and all this other type of stuff, I'll give them perhaps, on some occasions, 100, and I'll keep the 22. I'm not going to give them $122. I mean, these slot machines, number one, are uber predatory. If you happen to win, just like I always say, if you win on a slot machine, you beat all the odds. Now, some people could say, well, you know, I just like to spread the love and spread the money around. That's awesome. I'm not knocking that, and I'm not telling you to stop. But I'm just saying, tipping is tipping, and tipping is supposed to be for exceptional service, not because you feel obligated, not because in the grand scheme of things, you know, it's going to swing back to you in life and karma and all that type of stuff. I mean, if that's what you believe, good on you, whatever, but you're just giving away your money because you'll most likely take that hand pay, jam it back in the machine, and lose it all. And you would be wishing you had that $300 that you tipped back. You know, trust me. Again, these machines are predatory. This town as a whole operates on, I wouldn't say the entire town is predatory, but there are a lot of predatory aspects to this town that you have to be careful of. So throwing your money around to try to be Diamond Jim, trust me, these people do not care. They are not going to remember you. You're not ingratiating yourself with them. Oh my God, I have a friend in Vegas who gave me a hand pay. You're out of sight, out of mind in like 5 minutes, you know. They're thankful for the money and they move on with their lives. Plus, they're all splitting those tips anyway. So being generous to one, overtly generous to one, doesn't mean that that one person is going to reap the reward of your generosity, because it's all pooled and split at the end of the day. So the $300 you gave them out of your $1,200, they're going to see $6 of it by the time they divide it all up. So they're not overly thrilled. Like I said, it's up to you what you want to do. It's your money and it's my money. But these days I am in the habit of waiting for service. If they service me good, if they make me wait an hour for a hand pay, and I got dinner at Bavette's or something like that, I ain't giving them shit. You know, that's just it. I'll tell them straight up, listen, I got dinner in like 15 minutes. Could we hustle this up? Yeah, don't worry. We'll be back ASAP. And if they are, and if they keep their word, yes, I will be generous, because that's the right thing to do. But if they make you sit there for an hour, you're missing dinner, you're missing time, you cannot step away from the machine legally. That's abandoning your jackpot. So unless you tell them, obviously, I'm going to go to the bathroom, I'll be right back, whatever. But you're trapped there. And if someone makes me wait a half hour, an hour, I'm not tipping them. I don't care whether it's a $5,000 hand pay or a $1,201 hand pay. That's my time that you're inconveniencing. So they're already causing their own bad karma. But overall, I am fairly generous. But again, I follow the principle of smaller hand pays, I round down to the nearest 50. Larger hand pays, I round down to the nearest 100, with some exceptions. Now, you do you, whatever feels right to you, but again, don't piss your money away, because most likely you'll be wanting that generosity karma money back at some point. These people are just doing their job. Yes, tipping makes it a little more pleasant to do their job, but it is not an obligation. It is something that you do out of your own generosity. So I hope that answered your question about the next time you get a hand pay, and I wish hand pays upon all of you. And welcome to 2024. This is my first video of 2024, and I'm going to invite you to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell button to get notified when I drop more videos and do more live streams, and look forward to my new video streaming platform coming out soon. I love you guys. I can't wait to see you online. And on that note, Bror Fredrik out.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.